never been a better time to put it all on the line. Ooh, yeah.
Next, last squad. Squad 8.
Pallonpinnan muuttaminen pelin aikana on kielletty. Voitte muuttaa pallon pintaa vielä lämmittelyn aikana, mutta ette sen jälkeen. Jos tulee mitään ongelmia, niin painakaa alamonitorin oikeasta alakulmasta palvelupyyntöpainiketta, niin henkilökuntamme tulee auttamaan teitä. Lämmittely on 10 minuuttia aloitusrataparilla. Kun koneet kohta käynnistyvät, voitte aloittaa lämmittelyn. Peli on Welcome to play last qualification squad of this year's Brunswick Ballmaster Open. You will play 6 games, lane change after each game. Left lane goes 4 lanes to the left and right lane goes 4 lanes to the right. You cannot change the surface of the ball during the 6 games. You are allowed to change it during the warm-up, but not after that. If you have any troubles, please push the button on the lower right corner on the screens on pedestals and our staff will come and help you. When the machines soon start, you will have 10 minutes warm-up on your starting pair of lanes. Good luck. In this squad we have at least one previous Ballmaster winner, Joonas Jehkinen. And it seems that lane machine is out of the 36, so we are ready to start warm-up.
think it's over, then let's start it again. The planets alive, the stars burn bright, the sun goes down, we keep going all night. Don't back down, the moment is now. Don't miss out, we're never turning around. The night is young, we're out and free. If you can, try to catch me if you can. Catch me if you can. We're renegades. We're renegades. We're renegades. They'll never see us 'cause we're moving the night. We're always ready if they put up a fight. Outrun, outclimb, we'll outshine. You were wrong to think it's worth it to try. So listen up, I'm calling your bluff, calling your bluff. Yeah, give it up, I think you've had enough. We're renegades. Yeah, we're renegades. We're renegades. Too much on the line, too much to give in. If you think it's over, then let's start it again. The planets align, the stars burn bright, the sun goes down, let's keep going all night. So listen up, I'm calling your bluff, calling your bluff. Yeah, give it up, think you've had enough, We're renegades. We're renegades. We're renegades. We're renegades. We're renegades. Yeah, I'm moving at the speed of sound. I got both hands off the wheel. No, nothing's gonna slow me down. I keep on heading straight to the top. I'm gonna show you something real. No, nothing's gonna make me stop. I got breath in my lungs, my blood pumping strong. I gotta tell you what I feel inside. I feel so good. I got breath in my lungs, my blood pumping strong. I gotta tell you what I feel inside. I feel so good. So good to be alive. 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 I'm hitting harder than a hurricane. I got nothing left to fear. No, there isn't any other way. I got breath in my lungs, my blood pumping strong. I gotta tell you what I feel inside. I feel so good. I got breath in my lungs, my blood pumping strong. I gotta tell you what I feel inside. I feel so good. So good to be alive. 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 This is how it works now. When the gates of earth won't let you out, This is where you fall down. You weren't ready when heaven rained down in a storm cloud. Oh, don't let your feelings out. Every word you speak on the back page, dripping in a joke in a seascape. In your love shell, you weren't ready to meet the angels. When you fall, then it don't. When you care, then it won't. You weren't ready when heaven rained down. When you fall, should've cared. When you see standing there. When you fall, should've cared. When you see standing I saw the way you turned me on, even as I saw through you. I saw the way you called it, yeah, I saw the way you knew. And every time the world is wrong, we see it crystal clear. But we maintain the illusion that we all know why we're here. Should've cared. When you see our love standing there. When you fall, should've cared. When you see our love standing there.
Welcome to you all, spectators around the world. It is time for Squad 18, Ballmaster Tournament 2026. This is the last qualifying squad of the tournament. Right after this, we will be playing Desperado, where the top 3 will make the finals, and the finals first step start today at 7:30 p.m. Naturally, this last squad is full, so we have 72 players.
Yeah, and was it 17 or 18 was on Finnish national, so quite international.
There is 17 Finnish players, so that means 55 foreign players.
Yeah. So, Pasi, you have been looking all this stuff on outside, most of this, and the overall situation after squad 17 is on here.
Yeah, that's the thing, and the rules are top 16 will make it final step like it says on the screen. The score is Elisa Mehmet at the moment at 14.08, and then for step 1, players from 17 to 38. So 38 is the last one to make it to step 1, and that's Pontus Andersson with a score of 1389. And over there on the left, it's pretty easy to understand because from squads 1 to 8, 3 players, 2 players from 9 to 11 and 12 to 14, and those are the scores outside of top 8 that will make it to the finals first round later this evening. It'll be interesting in this squad because not only we are thinking about and watching who's going to crack the top 38, but it also affects on those players from those earlier squads that we will be making finals.
That's the funny thing on about those positions 37, 38 and 43. So Tahvanainen, Andersson and Tisarinen, those all have same total amount, but the last game is different on those. And if basically Tisarinen and Andersson would played differently on the last game, then those were on other way around. But Andersson was not on those squads 1 to 8, so then it would be different quite a lot of these things.
Is Pontus score from squads 12 to 14?
Yeah.
Most likely it is. The squads 15 to 18, there is no extra places anymore, so you need to crack the top 38 if you played in those squads. I believe Pontus was playing in squads 12 to 15, so that makes him pretty obvious that he has a good chance of making, even though he's at the moment the 38 cut score. But we'll keep on tap on that and try to keep you in real time what is going on when we enter the later stages squad. Can you, Rauli, once again show us what the pattern is that we are using this year in Ballmaster?
Yeah, let's take it on the screen. So
there's this year's tournament pattern, 44 feet in distance over a volume about 30 mils. And as you can see, those later 5th and 6th and 7th zones, there is more oil applied on the edges than on boards 7, 8, 9. That is the intention by doing that, is trying to take out that outside shot that you could miss out and still be able to take the ball back from there. And even though the scores skyrocketed yesterday, I think there's been almost 30 scores from the last 3 squads that are in the top 38. Overall, I thought the pattern was and is still very okay.
yeah, we did presume quite different score pace on the first weekend when we talk about that.
Yeah, after Tuesday, mathematically, the prognosis to make the top 38, it was 1350 or 1360 something.
Yeah.
And yesterday it became 1380, and now it's 1390.
Yeah. But it was still, the same calculation was still going on squad 13, but then happened something.
Yeah. Like I said, the last 3 squads, because Linus Boström, who is second on that list from squads 1 to 8 with 1377, he said that the last 2 squads yesterday, 25 players beat his score. So I don't know what happened. Obviously there are lots of good bowlers on the lanes, but still something changed and scores skyrocketed. But this is not too unusual in bowling. It could happen that everybody is making a good score, but I've seen tournaments where, like almost 20 years ago, Ballmaster, at the time we had 4 squads Saturday, and only 1 player made the finals from that day. But I remember at that time we had minus Celsius the whole tournament week, but the last weekend, Friday and Saturday, it was +4 or 5, and the humidity raised like 30%, so it changed the playing environment completely, and you could tell that from the But more about the finals format. Like I said, final step number 1 starts today at 7:30 p.m. Players from positions 17 to 48, so that means 32 players. They will play 6 games scratch, and top 16 will advance tomorrow. And in final step number 2, qualification top 16 plus those 16 players advancing from step number 1, which means 32 players. They will be playing 8 games scratch, and top 16 will make it to round 3, which is a round robin, 2 squads, 8 players in each squad, and pin carry is carried from step number 2. And after the completion of step 3, the top 2 from both pools, squads, will make it to TV finals, where we will be having 4 players, and that means 2 semifinals, and then the final game between winners of semifinals. And schedule for tomorrow is step number 2 starts 10 a.m. Step number 3 starts 1:30 p.m. and those top 4 televised step ladders will start at 6 p.m.
And now you can see that there is few players already front 4, and we try to find all who have changed to make the 300.
And it's also easy to keep on tap because in this bowling center, every time you have front 7 or more, they announce it, so we know that somewhere somebody has a very, very long streak from the beginning. So it's impossible for us to miss it. And so far the tournament has seen 5 perfect games. 4 of those only have paid that 300 extra. The Latvian guy, can't remember his name, but he hadn't played
Peteris,
Peteris Simbus or something.
Yeah.
He had paid that 10 euros. So at the moment we have 4 players who would be playing that role of right after those top 4 step ladder finals. And the price for the 300 extra is 3,000. Pyry Puharinen, who shot the first one, was it squad 3 or 4? Probably 3. By shooting it first, he already pocketed 2,000 for that.
Yeah.
And like I said, this year's edition is the 56th time we are playing Ballmasters here in Tali Bowling Center. The first 3 were played in different bowling centers, but this is 53rd time that Ballmaster Open and is played here in Tali Bowling.
There has been this pattern on these last squads that there is till game 5 it shows that there comes a huge score, but then there's a huge dip on the last game.
That is pretty typical, and I think it happens every time. Because at the later stages of squad, and that means games 5 and 6, every time you make a lane switch, there's so much guessing what's it gonna be like. It could be that the first 2 shots on both lanes, you're just trying to seek how to play, and 2 frames actually is 20% of that game. That is the reason why always scoring pace tends to go a little bit slower in the end. Except yesterday, was it William Svensson who shot 540 his last 2 games, but that was an exception.
Yeah.
On lane 35, 36 there is 2 front 5s.
Yeah, and I can see a couple of front 4s, so a big chance that at least some of these players will make it to announcements here in the bowling center, so that means more than 7 in a row. This year's tournament, Rauli, can you remember how many different nationalities were taking part in this year's tournament?
I can't remember, but let's check it. I have some things what I can use.
Total entries, including this last squad, was 1,100 and something. So there's an increase of more than 100 entries compared to last year. Okay, we had squads on Wednesday, which we didn't have last year, and the only way actually how we can get bigger is adding squads to earlier stages of the tournament. Because these last 4 squads at least have been full. And over here we can see Swedish guy Felix Möller, who has 5. Messenger will take out the 10, so halfway
Wow.
there. And also Magnus Haram Mittet.
That was a slow pin.
Now that was a slow messenger. It wasn't like EJ's messenger. That's right. And also on 25th, you can say Magnus Haram Mittet, who has 14, so he has already guaranteed his place in the finals. But I don't think if he's at the moment inside of the top 16. Probably can check that out. Actually, he is, because it was
He is,
14:08 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, Magnus is still playing, and there's always chance for him to improve his previous score. And so far, the start has been good from 6.
His position is now 14.
Yeah, well, he's kind of on the bubble. It's not impossible that there is 3 new ones going past him. It might be enough, but I understand why he is playing.
And lane 1, Björn Jensen, front 5.
Yeah, we can see it on
And
screen.
lanes 35, 36. 2 players, front 6. And I try to check Juho Rissanen going to throw on lane 27. He has front 5.
Rataparilla 35,
Felix Möller.
36, Felix
shot his
Möller,
seventh strike
7 kaattoa
20,
alusta,
36.
front 7,
So he's the
Felix
first one
Möller.
to make it to the announcement
Yeah. So
stage.
488 players.
Do you remember how many different players entered the tournament last year?
Was it over 500?
So there were more players last year,
Yeah.
but still we have 100 or so more entries than last year.
Juho Rissanen, front 6.
Yeah, Juho, who is actually a very good player. I think he's played 5 or 6 times, or maybe 7 times.
I think 7 or 8.
Yeah. But he managed to get a spot in this squad, because yesterday he was skeptical that he might not be able to get into the squad, but there he is, and really on his final chance to making the finals if we're not counting Desperado.
22 countries.
22 different countries. Well, in general, I think the tournament is doing good. 1100 something entries, and last 4 squads full stuff. Everything is working. And like usual, all the foreign players that have been playing here, they have all been very pleased how the tournament is organized. Environment is good and stuff. The only thing that has been a little awkward here in Finland lately is it's been very cold outside.
True.
But luckily, bowling is played inside, so that doesn't really matter that much. We can go see Juho Rissanen front 7 also. Should we pick up number
Rataparilla 27, 28,
Pair 1 and 2,
on lanes
Rauli.
27,
Björn
28,
Saksager,
front
Jensen
7, 7 kaattoa alusta, Juho Rissanen.
is going up. And also Felix Möller, who has front 7 on 35, 36. He's about to shoot his 8th frame over there. So there are several players that has a chance to make the perfect game already here in the first game. So there's your 7th strike to Björn Saksager. And now 35, 36, if you can roll go over there, we can get Felix Möller, 35, 36.
On lanes 1 and 2, Björn Saksager Jensen,
Just
front
missed it,
7,
but Felix got
on
that
lanes
8th
35,
strike already.
36, Felix Möller, 8, in a row.
And overall, looks like that the scores are pretty high again. So when we're talking about that Harald Mittet with that 14-14, it is more than possible that there's going to be more than 3 players going past him. So the only way to guarantee his spot in the top 16 is to improve his previous score.
Let's jump on the
I think the next one is Björn. Juho Rissanen is not yet up the approach, or neither is Felix Möller. In last year's tournament, there were 19 different bowlers who had paid 300 extra and made a perfect game, and that roll-off that took place right after the top 4 step ladders, it took 40 minutes
Felix
and
is
7 rounds.
going on lane 36, so
We can go there.
Yep.
Björn Saxhager has that front 8, and here Felix Möller in the 9th.
Björn Jensen, front 8.
Flat 10. So no perfection for Felix Möller, but all the way it's still a good start. And then we have Juho Rissanen going up in the 8th, 27 and 28. Yeah, it has to be more than 6, so this is 7th or 8th squad for Juho. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure, yeah.
yes,
Juho
Perfect
Rissanen, front 8.
So we have 2 players with front 8, Björn Saxhager and Juho Rissanen. Neither of players are yet on the approach 9th frame. Also, as a new thing, we had this audience 300 extra here, which was that if you bought the ticket to get inside the bowling center as a spectator, you were also able to win something, and 1,000 euros were awarded if somebody shot a 300, and then we had this draw first between if it's going to be a player or a spectator, and then the number from that entry ticket or the card that you received when you entered the tournament. And one lucky guy from not lucky female from Sweden yesterday, she did pick up that 1,000 euro prize money yesterday.
yeah, and was very happy.
Well, that's understandable. Joonas Jehkinen just made a strike over there. His previous score is 14-24, and he is 9th at the moment, so pretty much he's a lock in the top 16, because I don't see 8 players going past him. But he's just practicing this last week. Brandon Bohm, who doesn't have a score yet, also played pretty nicely. The one spare in the 6th.
lane 1,
Björn Saxhager Jensen is up in the 9th. High hit 6. I think he's playing with No Mercy Solid, like his Juho is also using No Mercy Solid.
come on Juho, more strikes, yes,
That was dead flush. The only thing that
Juho
could have stayed
Rissanen,
up was
9
Solid,
kaatoa,
but
9 strikes.
obviously it did it. So let's keep the camera on this pair and see what happens. And also to viewers over there, you can also check out the scores by yourself. The website is bowling.fi, and over there you can find Ballmaster tournament pages, and there is
Ballmaster FI works also.
Okay, Ballmaster FI works also, and there is that scoring page where you can follow the scores game by game, each squad, and it updates itself by itself, and it takes less than a minute always how to refresh, so scores are updated time. Big Brunstrand, good strike. He doesn't have a score yet either. I don't know how many squads he has played, but he's not currently making finals. But one more strike, 230, it's a decent start.
William Berggren has also got good.
Yeah, good
game
start.
running.
And William, he doesn't have a score yet either. So lots of good players playing this squad at the moment are not inside the top 38. So I wouldn't be too surprised actually to see that Haram Mittes 14-14 is not enough in the top 16. Let's see what happens. But now Juho Rissanen, who has from 9, is up for the 10th frame.
And let's go a little bit closer.
Previous strikes have been all dead flush, solid strikes. That wasn't well. The 6 pin took out the 10 like it should. So perfect
10
strike in that sense,
kaatoalusta,
but not
Juho
dead flush
Rissanen.
anymore. But overall, Juho's ball reaction looks so good that I would give his chances of completing the perfect game over 50% at the moment by far. Let's say 70% of the times from this point of view, he's going to shoot that perfect.
Juho's shirt has quite good.
Yeah, it's a local picture.
Yeah.
Juho comes from
Graphics.
Kuopio, that's Puijos Tower,
Yeah.
and those ski jumping hills also presented on that picture. So that's cool.
Yeah. Something different.
That is a different thing, yeah. Yesterday there were several shirts where the font on the back, I couldn't even read what it said. That was a poor shot, right to the nose. Going to be 288 with a spare, but either case, a very strong start. And like mentioned, this is probably 7th or 8th time he's entering the tournament. Hopefully he makes it.
Hopefully. Hopefully. So let's see what we have on. Oh,
Björn Saxar Jensen.
Björn had,
He left at 4-6 in the 9th, buried the 10th, so that's 250. Nicholas Carter, 230. And Nicholas Carter, he actually made the top 4 in Hammer Challenge, September. He was on TV.
yeah.
Yeah. So he's used to playing good here in Tali Bowling Center. And if there's someone who doesn't know, Tali also hosts one more big event annually these days, which is played in September. It's called the Hammer Challenge. And also there the top 4 is on televised finals. And Nicholas Carter made those top 4 this last September. So if maybe I could go with Janne and ask Juho what are his feelings right at the moment after starting pretty strongly. I'll go down there with Janne and ask a couple of questions from him and if he is confident enough that he's going to make the final.
Okay.
Juho Rissanen, aika hyvä alku, vaikkei nyt 300 tullutkaan. Siitä on hyvä jatkaa, mutta mones erä tää on, ootko laskenut itekään?
No onhan sitä laskettu, että 8 tää on.
No silloin me oltiin oikeassa, kun mietittiin, että 7 tai 8. Oliko jotain nyt, mitä teit eri lailla tuossa ekassarjassa kuin aikaisemmin? Oliko uutta palloa tai jotain muuta?
No kävi hyvä tuuri pöydässä, että siinä oli oikeastaan yksi budjetoitu uretaan ja muut pelas aika paljon ehkä itteen ylempää starttiin. Sai treenattua siihen hyvän tilan ulkopuolelle ja sai hyödynnettyä se aika hyvin.
Oliko toi No Mercy Solid ollut jo aikaisemmin käytössä ekassarjassa?
Se oli keskiviikkona viimeksi käytössä, että nyt torstaina taisin käyttää toisessa pelissä, mutta sitten käytin Purplee 2 seuraavassa erässä siitä sitten. Ei ehkä ihan niin otollinen itselle, mutta hyvä näin, että toimii.
No niin, ei muuta kuin jatkamaan suuta ja toivottavasti nähdään sut finaalissa.
Yes, kiitos.
So now we did get the confirm that it was 8th squad for the Juho now.
Yes, Juho just said that we were correct. This is his 8th try. He was obviously pleased with that first game. He had used that No Mercy Solid prior in Wednesday's squad in the first game. Then afterwards, since using Purple Hammer increased, he was using Purple in the last 2 squads, but now it looked like that this was going to be a perfect place to use No Mercy Solid, and like we saw, it worked pretty nicely and good start for him.
Matthias Wetterberg 244. So
Yeah, still
and Sorensen 237.
a couple of more pairs that have been yet to complete the first game, but let's say 3-4 minutes will be able to publish scores after the first game.
Yeah, before this lane pair 9 and 10 is done.
And that's the last pair.
Yeah.
Also, they're playing on 7 and 8. That could be already the second game. Just a couple of shots and first game is done. Felix Möller shot 279, so that 10 pin that we saw in the 9th, that was the only leave for him in that game. Brandon Bond shot 266. William Berggren 257 and so on. A couple of minutes, so we'll be able to show the complete result after the first game.
And if we think about that average, what needed, it's 235, I think.
Yeah, that would be 1410. That's 235 average. Everything that you shoot more than 1400, you're guaranteed to make the top 38. But that top 16, it remains to be seen. But like I said, Harmita is 14th at the moment with 14. But Joonas Jehkinen 10 pins more with 24. He's 9th, and that's safe. It is 14, 1 something. That's going to be the cut score for top 16.
Yeah, before this squad tournament, director Jukka Savolainen said that 32 players are almost in same score.
Yeah, to think about, for example, Joonas is 9th with 14.24, and with 13.84, you're already out of it.
Yeah,
So inside 40 pins, there's way over 30 players.
it's unusual. I don't remember in last 15 years like this. So, but it's good. It's interesting.
Yeah, you would think that if the cut score to make the finals is almost 1,400, there has to be at least a couple of players cracking the 1,500 barrier, but so far none.
Yeah. Usually 1 or 2 at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this really means that every pin counts, literally.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And even though on this year's pattern obviously did start this way, but we could say it's relatively high scoring, at least the last 3-4 squads. Still, every time you miss an easy spare, it's more than 10 pins. And if there's almost 40 players inside 40 pins, don't miss your spares.
So, because Petterberg is now on the list on theirs, we have all the first game scores on here.
Yeah, 10th for 237. Also 20th for 223. I would say my guess is that Felix Mittet's 14-14, he's going to be 16th. That number will be the top 16. And 38 is going to be 90 something. The highest ever qualification for, since we've been playing these 6-game qualification squads with re-entries, probably is Michael Fagan's 1570 or 80 something about 15 years ago.
There is one thing on position 15, Anders Johansson.
That's weird, yeah.
This is his first squad.
Yeah, and we were thinking about why first, that when you're coming from abroad and you only enter the last squad. So in that case, you probably are like just traveling with someone to be a company over there. But so far, starting 230 in his only try, it's okay. And that name, for me, I'm not familiar who he is. It's impossible to say what kind of talent he is. David Stig Kronqvist Petersen, probably, because this scoring machine sometimes leaves certain letters away, so that name has to be David Stig Kronqvist Petersen.
Yeah. And on lane 1, Victor Gundersen is a subscriber on our channel.
Oh, so that's good.
And you can still order that extra life or that all content service. Then you can choose your length, what you want to watch.
Extra service costs €5 and full content is €10.
About that. And if you buy that all content, and you are here in Finland near Tali Bowling Center, you can
Yeah.
come to watch here.
It's including the ticket inside of here.
Juho Rissanen has played 3 frames so far this second game. Started with pairs and the strike. Felix Müller, he made the big jump from the last pair. He's now playing on 3 and 4. Noah Vilokinen on lane number 10. He's been really taking big steps, improving his games. For example, he won a tournament in Spain in Torrevieja. He won lots of pole tournaments. So far, he hasn't been able to crack the final score. Let's hope and this squad it will happen for him. Started 222 and now working on double and left at pin, so 31 over after 13 frames. But of course, tournaments like Ballmaster, 48 players make the finals, but there are lots of good players every year that don't make the finals. And even 48 might sound lots of players. It is very, very tough to make the finals in Ballmaster Open because the overall quality of players.
Random Bone on the lane 20, front 4.
So he is actually 96 over already. And Brandon doesn't have a score that qualifies the final yet, and I think he's played 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Justin played it, I think 3 or 4 times. And Parker maybe 5 or 6 times.
But he made it from last squad.
Yes.
Parker.
Yeah.
Parker's first 2 tries were both less than 1200. I don't know if he learned something from the pattern or is it like the scores would suggest getting a little bit easier. And either way, he made it and Stephen Parker Bone, the Hall of Famer, in final step number 1 later evening. The Desperado squad will start pretty much immediately after finishing this squad 18. Obviously, it takes a little bit time to organize the players on lanes and stuff, but there's not going to be a re-oil where you burn lanes. Desperado and top 3 will make it step number 1, which will start, like I said, 7:30 p.m. later. Michael Kremer here on lane 23. Make that shot. Somebody played on 1 simultaneously. Michael Kremer is a senior bowler from Germany. I remember I played several times all around the world. And he turned senior last year and actually competed in Reno, Nevada last November in seniors championship. Rissanen actually had a split in the fourth frame. He didn't spare, so he's 14 under after 5 frames in the second game. Still lots of work to do for Juho to crack the top 38.
There was a lot of misses on 25-26.
That's
Simon Susiluoto doing good game. Same Harri Korkka.
Harri is also throwing his first squad.
yeah, Harri Korka, who also resides like Juha Kuopio. Just thinking that he made this weekend trip to Helsinki, obviously playing this last squad, but also taking that vacation. But I know Harri, he has lots of qualities and enough talent to make the top 38 if everything goes perfectly for him. In 33 and 34 with Björn Saxager Jensen making that spare. But as you can see on the screen, he's been struggling. 46 pins in 5 frames. So that good start 250, it's already wiped out. He's even par at the moment. Now usually the difference here in Tali Bowling Center is that the front part of the bowling center
That
lanes
was really slow on 36, the last pin.
Yeah,
Roni Leskinen, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying, front part of the bowling center, it has lots of more friction compared to the end part of the bowling center. And every time you make a switch from end part to the front part or vice versa, even though you know those differences that usually exist there, it makes it hard after switching pairs and end parts to the front part over here.
Victor Undersen has started quite good on this game.
Yeah, empty frame and then 6-bagger, but after starting only 177, he's 26 over at the moment.
and lane 4 we can see Felix Murray, 1 open frame.
Yeah, he's 4 under after 7 frames working double, so 75 over at the moment.
Joonas Jehkinen, only 3 strikes in 7th frame. So let's see. But Kasperi Miettinen on lane 2, strike, spare, and after that 5 strikes.
Yeah, he's actually 51 over currently at the moment. Jusselainen has also played several times.
I think at least 10 times.
No, he went to Aiko in Sweden, played that many times. I would say it's close to Juho Rissasen's 8.
Yeah,
Jussi, who is actually, this is his home center, he lives pretty close to Tali Bowling Center and practices here and competes a lot over here, so environment is pretty familiar for him. Justin Bone over here on 5 and 6, studied 190 and now he's 13 under for this game. Justin doesn't have a score that qualifies him into the finals at the moment, doesn't he? Probably, you know, does Dustin Bone have a score that is currently making the top 38?
No, at this point.
So he needs to improve his score, and so far first 60 frames have been not so good, 23 under, so
Let's see. On this point, there is only one ball out.
only Parker, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's looking kind of bleak for Justin at the moment. He would need to shoot the last remaining 44 frames, 220 over almost.
yeah,
It doesn't look too good.
it's very hard.
It is. And like we talked previously, the last 2-3 games, It's only getting harder, not easier. William Berggren over here, 23 and 24, who started 257. He has a spare and 5-bagger, so that is already 97 over. He's on 23 and 24. Maybe we go over there and
Yeah.
check
Before
it out.
that, on lane 13, Fiona Lindemann has some kind of clue how to do it now.
Yeah, 5-bagger, but obviously starting 165, it doesn't look that good. But here is William Berggren. Great light hit. Destroys the pin and pins, and he's 177 over at the moment.
Yeah, and lane 21, Jaroslav Chapleta, possible 279 game coming.
Yeah, and started 223.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember Jaroslav that he had played here previously. But like you can see, he's a young guy, so probably every time everybody needs to go somewhere for the first time. A little high, did it trip the 4-pin, but still in a current pace, he would make the finals.
On lane 34, Ilene Brahms started with 3 spares, after that 5 strikes. And here we can see it.
Do you know, Rauli, why Ilana's last name is in capital? And that's the only thing. Nobody else has it.
She has been written it on the ball for you like that.
Okay.
And it comes from there to
Great, okay.
Lexer, and there is a thing that we cannot make it down on.
You can change it.
We can, but on
Okay.
stupid things on the scoring and all the systems, it's better to keep like it's
Yeah,
written
and it
on the
doesn't
side.
matter.
Yeah.
Nicolas Carter, who we mentioned, made the top 4 in Hammer Challenge, started 230, but this game, even though he doubled in the 9th, he's still 18 under for this game, so barely over 400 pace at the moment.
I have feeling that Ben Saxager Jensen doesn't like on lane 33, 34 at all.
Yeah, I would say he's not happy at the moment. He's not celebrating. That's a huge drop because he started front 8. So that practically means he was 70 over at the moment. And at this minute, he is 79 under this game. So that means he's 24 under the par. And he started from 8. Since then, it hasn't been that nice and cozy for him.
These last lanes has some really slow messengers. Markus Heinonen had also like a second before machine comes down. Being down.
Do you remember what's the exact time when ball goes to the pins and what time the sweeper comes down and the deck?
Sweep comes down at same point when
The ball goes
triggers the
triggers, yeah.
machine.
What about the
And
deck?
Deck, it took about 4-5 seconds when it's on the cycle and coming down.
Because there are rules that fastest or the latest it should come, and obviously this is not either way, somewhere between, but 4 to 5.
And now on lane 23, William Berggren.
on these machines there is no written time what is said how long it takes when it
In the
starts.
rule book.
No, in the manual,
Okay.
machine manual. There is only time-based thing is that the ball door is locked about 4 to 5 seconds, depending on firmware, but how
Okay.
long it keeps ball door locked when it sees the ball coming on the machine.
And obviously, the later the deck comes down, there's more time for those slow messengers or anything else to happen.
Yeah.
It's not that often it matters, but when we're thinking about that 6 games is 60 frames, there could be once or twice in those 6 games, depending on how fast or how late it comes down, it actually affects the shot.
I think that the slowest part on this timeline is the bowler.
Jaroslav Chapleta 257.
So he's 80 over after 2 games. Currently on pace to 1440, which would qualify right into the top 60. Juho Rissanen, he's 3 over and he has 10th frame remaining, second game. So currently he's exactly 91 pins over the par and 10 frame to go.
We have missed Simo Uosukainen has done 244 on this game and Nicola Larissa 235.
Also William Berggren, who we watched strike in the 7th, he has continued. He has only left once in the first frame, so he's 127 over until 10th frame to go. And now we have him in.
Yeah, we have been parked here.
After 2 games, it's good if you have 500 or over. It's little bit room for the last games.
Yeah, let's say you have 170, 180 over after 4, then you have a choice to sort of like play safe. You know that you're going to hit the pocket every time. Maybe your reaction is not perfect, but you know that 420 is enough. Like Mika Koivuniemi did in squad 3 or 4, wherever he played that 14 something. He shot 216, 217 the last 2 games, and he, after the finish of the squad, said that he played it safe. But if he needed, like, let's say 480, he would have made a change. But he knew that just hitting the pocket and making pairs will be enough, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, in a few squads we see that players have that 1200 and the 6th game was 150 and they are out.
Yeah, a few players did that, yeah.
Yeah. In last squad of yesterday, Markus Jansson was quite high on, it was it 1204 on game 5
Yeah,
and still only 1404.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. That game is what Markus played was 256, 252, 265, 246, and then 191 and 194.
Yeah, yeah.
and William Berggren continues to striking.
Yeah, trips the 4 pin. So now he's 130 something over. William has visited Ballmaster Open previous years many times. He is one of those Swedish bowlers, let's say 15 of them, who are actually capable of going all the way to those TV finals. This time he wasn't able to trip the 4-pin, but 536 if he converts easy 4-pin pair after. Timo Uosukainen has 499, Brandon Bourne 489, Juho Rissanen 511, and Felix Möller, we didn't check him out. Second game he has 515 after games.
Yeah. 236 on second game. Okay. Let's see what we have. Race started. Emil Svensson is doing strikes on the second game.
He started 2-3. He strikes out, he get 57, so that would also be 480, like Jaroslav Tapleta.
And maybe we can say that Justin Bourne is out.
Yeah. 350, 360. He's not going to be making.
Yeah.
Also, Emil Svensson misses headpin, so that is high to 450 something if it reaches the pair. Markus Lahti on lane 8. He has also played several times, and so far I think his best score is that 1330 something from squad 2. Dave Botka, who had from 9 earlier today, but wasn't able to finish off nicely in the 6th frame. He didn't make the finals. Dave, who is old PBA regular player, now works at Brunswick and was doing a seminar over here yesterday, and the reason why he's here, business, but also wants to compete in Ballmaster like he did last year also.
Let's rate these lanes 5 and 6.
Yeah, the pace is so different. 5 and 6, they're still playing the 10th frame in the second game, and on 5 and 6, where Felix Möller is playing,
They are behind because there was
They
some
go 7-8.
machine.
yeah, but still different pace. Like we can see, Felix Möller is already, Markus Lahti playing the 3rd frame.
There was some machine problem on the first game, so that's why this pair is a little bit slow.
And now we can see Emil Svensson. Is it 257? Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I thought it was already Svensson. It was Wetterberg with that fill ball 8 count. Yeah, Emil Svensson, 480. Felix Möller hit it high, leaving 3-6-10.
If you want to ask something, write it on the chat. We try to answer.
Jussi Lainen, 422 and spare strike spare. So currently still 22 over after 23 frames. Björn Saxager Jensen, who we already mentioned, that struggled mightily in the second game. He has started his 3rd frame spare and an open frame, so he's currently 43 under par and start with the front 8.
Yeah.
Felix Miller makes a strike, but he opened up that 3-6-10, so he's 103 over at the moment. But you can tell that already in third game, the scores are going down. And also, even if you start with 500, you still need to shoot 900 for the last 4 to crack that 1400 barrier. It's not that easy. Although yesterday it really looked that it was easy, because pretty much everybody shot 1400.
Yeah, sometimes we don't know what the scores are, but here are the scores after 2 games.
Now we know after 2 games, yes. 20th, Alfred Oddbert, 449.
If we think about that average 235, it will be that
10 of these players are higher than that. Frank Stevenson with 477.
yeah, top 10 now, and when we are in game 5, maybe 3 or 5 players left. But never know.
Yeah, if we knew before, why would we even play?
Yeah, that's true. I'll go to see that the cashier can handle the Desperado things, so I'll be back.
Juho Rissanen missed a single pin on lanes 35 and 36. Started with a double, but then missed a single pin. So currently he's 108 over. William Berggren, who leads the squad after 2 games with that 536, has started with a strike and 8 spare. And a reminder, Desperado squad, where top 3 will advance to the finals into step number 1 later on this evening. It will start immediately after completion of squad 18, but it takes around 30 minutes to organize all the players who want to take part in Desperado onto the lanes. I think this will take that 3 hours or so, maybe 15 over 5, so Desperado will start approximately 5:45. We will be sending that Desperado also to you, as well as step number 1 later on this evening, and it starts 7:30, and players from 17 to 48 from qualification will play 6 games, and top 16 will advance to tomorrow's step 2, which will start tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Alex Joki, who actually played pretty nicely in September's Hammer Challenge, he has yet to qualify for the finals. He has 429 after 2, and this third game, strike, open split and a strike, so not looking good for Alex either.
Here we can see that on lane 24, Megan Decay started with hole 3. after 2 games 459, so still chance to improve that score and average.
Another strike for Megan Decay. She's now 89 over without women handicap after 24 frames. And William Berggren, who's leading the squad, up on 27, shooting his 4th frame in the 3rd game. He was a little bit lucky not to leave that 4-6, only 4-7. Since we didn't see it, what happened in the 2nd game, but that was also 8 count, so you could say that he's struggling on lane 27.
Ivan Susiluoto started very good. Spare, strike, spare, and after that 2 strikes. So
73 over after 25 frames. Juho Rissanen, after that single bit and miss in the 3rd, he has responded pretty nicely, striking both in the 4th and the 5th frame. So 118 over. And now picture, you can see he's up in the 6th frame. Really nice strike. Look how big spin takes out the 10 like it should. And like you can see, he has already made a ball change after the 1st game. Probably switched to a little bit smoother ball that's not so aggressive like No Mercy Solid is. 128 over at the moment after 26 frames.
I think there is Emil Svensson, there is front 4. I think he is the only one now. Because Megan Decay, frame 5, started with 9 pins.
Yeah, he left the 10 pin in the 5th. And Emil Svensson, he had 480 after 2, and now with that 4-bagger, he's 110 over.
What do you think about the pressure now on players?
Well, obviously, since it's the last squad, and if you played already, let's say 5-6 times, you could think that there's some kind of pressure because you know there's no second chance after this squad. But I don't know if it's in the 3rd game, if you feel that much pressure. If you do, you probably felt it already before the squad.
Yeah, and if you start 150 or 170,
then there's no more pressure anymore because
Yeah.
it's kaput, game over.
Emil Svensson.
Yeah, go back.
Yeah,
And a strike.
yeah.
We were on playlist, which automatically changes pair after each minute. But we were able to tell you that Emil Svensson did strike again in the 5th, so 120 over. Juho Rissanen is coming up on 35 and 36, and maybe, Janne, you can take off the playlist. Let's do it manually. and go to those lanes which are interesting.
What you
36.
so here
Is already, even though it's only the third game, but we kind of sense which players do have a chance to make it. We can follow them more closely. Like Justin Bone, we know that it's not going to happen for him.
yeah. And here we can see on lane 33 Victor Gunderson playing well. I think he played already 5 or 6
What
times.
was that 7-pin for Juho? Because everything looked pretty nice. 6-pin did what it needs to do, and I can't even describe what kind of 7-pin that was. The only thing that comes to mind that there was a bad rack. It should have been a strike anytime. Well, it didn't. With that spare, Juho will be 127 up. No need to panic, even though, like previously mentioned, it's good to score early. So playing safe in the end, 5th and 6th game would be an option, but not this time for Juho. Unfortunate break, leaving the 7-pin. William Berggren also spared in the 5th. So no doubles yet after 5 frames from him. So he's still leading the squad, 135 over. Felix Möller has been in trouble on 7 and 8. He's 24 under after 8 frames. And you remember he had 5.15 after 2.
And from lane 24, random born 2 spares. After that 4 strikes, so looking good.
117 over after 26 frames. That was really powerful. Complete dead flush strike for Juho. And after that it becomes even more frustrating that he left that unlucky 7, because he lost 21 pins with that bad break.
And on lane 28, William Berggren killing game so far. And looking over 200 game.
Let's go to 23 and 24, where Megan DK just left at 4-6. And we're going to check out what happened with Brandon Bone in the 7th frame.
We already can see many players who are out.
Also, like
No change anymore.
21 and 22, Lukas Jelinek, he only has 381. And this game is 19 over. He's even par. Not looking good.
We can speculate that mathematic chance, but in this competition,
Yeah, in theory he has a chance, but
Yeah.
it's not gonna happen. Those remaining 34 frames. he needs to
On
go
lanes
200
1
over.
and 2, front 7, Emil Svensson.
Emil Svensson probably in lane 1 and 2.
yeah, we can go there after.
Somebody
this.
is hitting our camera on 23 and 24. Because now the picture is all twisted. Brandon leaving a weak 7. There's somebody over there, they hit it, that's why it's...
Yeah,
Fix it later. Let's go to 1 and 2 and see what happens to Emil Svensson. On 3 and 4, Roni Leskinen barely shooting 200. He had that 460.
mid strike.
So 670 something.
still little chance.
Matthias Wetterberg, who's also a good player. 38 over currently. Lots of work to do. Ilana Brahms, who had 465. After that 4-6, which probably is going to be an empty frame, over 30 under for this game. Not looking good.
And now Emil Svensson.
$140 over exactly at the moment. Perfect strike, front 8, 150 over.
8 kaatoa, 8 strikes. Emil Svensson on lanes 1 and 2.
Juho Rissanen in the 9th frame. He left 2, 4, 8, 10, opened up. So he's currently 2 over after 9 frames.
Here we can see Olli-Pekka Pajari, maybe 279.
A much needed big game after having only even par after 2. Albi Kustrand left very soft 9. It could have easily been 7-9. Although it was the second shot in the 10th frame, so it didn't matter if it wasn't a strike. 9 or 8, only one pin difference. Only Pekka Pajari, who comes from Tornio or Kemi. Which one? Can't remember either place.
I don't remember, but very far.
That is roughly 800 kilometers, 750, 800 kilometers from Helsinki upwards.
Emil Svensson, frame 9. Yes, strike.
It looked to be a little tighter than the previous one, but it held nicely. Dead flush from 9, so 160 over.
Emil Svensson, front 9.
Olli-Pekka Pajari, 275.
He is that 75 over after 3 frames. Felix Möller, who had 515 after 2, struggled mightily on this 3rd game. He only had 559, so he is 674. And all of a sudden, even after starting the squad pretty brightly, having the 515, now finds himself in deep trouble.
So let's go back to the lane 1.
Simo Susiluoto, by the way, who had 463, had 3rd game 248, and he's 711 after 3 frames. So he's on pace to make the finals.
And our flying camera is going to lanes. Not yet there.
Emil Svensson, 10th shot, 160 over at the moment. That's too tight.
Almost.
But luckily only left a 3-pin. So I assume he's going to make a spare on it. So 159 or close over. Timo Vuosukainen has 690.
after 3 games, it's good if you have at least 700.
Then you're in pace. But like mentioned before many times, it's easier to score in the first couple of games than in the last 2 games. So Emil Svensson with that 759, assuming he's going to strike with the field ball. He has some leverage, only needs to shoot 650 roughly the last 3 games.
It sounds easy on some buttons,
theory,
but
yeah.
not here. Yeah.
And Emil Svensson is going to make that big jump. 33 and 34 is his next pair. Brandon Bond, keep the camera over here. After the double in the 9th, he's 37 over for this game, which makes him 126 over and 10th frame to go. Brandon, who played here also last year, I can't remember. I think he didn't make the finals last year. Went pretty close several times, but didn't make it. He did enter that 300 extra after having won 300 games. Like previously said, it was Mika Koivuniemi who prevailed from those 19 players, winning it in the 7th round. Stefani Laris with that field ball was a little unlucky leaving that 8 pin, but since it was a field ball, it was only a 1 pin difference, and her game was only 166. So we can say it's pretty much all over for her. Mega Decay, who responded pretty nicely after that 4-6 scratch game of 233 with handicap it's 241, and that would make even 700 for her after 3 games.
That's good.
William Berggren, who had 536 and he led the squad. He has yet to double in this third game. He struck the first ball in the 10th. He's only 1 pin under for the game. So with the second one, he shoots a little over 200 and will be, depending on if it's a strike or not, 730 or 740.
Now, random ball.
High hit, the trips to 6 pin, so that makes 136 over for him. Juho Rissanen struck out in the 10th, so he has 723 after 3.
Random ball. Second shot in the 10th frame. Oh,
Missed it a little bit. 132 over. But he's in good shape. And like usual, it hasn't been that impossible for lefties in here in Tali. So no worries for Brandon, at least not yet. And with that spare, it's firmed 732.
Noa Vilokkinen play at 200 39 and overall score 690.
Yeah, he still has a good chance. We are approaching the midpoint of this last squad number 18. We have Desperado yet to come and final step number 1 later on this evening, so stay tuned into our streams. And also tomorrow starting 10 a.m. finals, which will conclude with those top 4 step ladders starting 6 p.m. local time. Juho Rissanen strikes in third frame, who had 690, and now he's exactly 100 over. Also Ronnie Leskinen, who has taken big steps also improving his game. The last 2 years, he's 92 over currently. Perfect strike. Ronnie, 102 over. Tuossa oli Rauli, joku kävi vähän taklaamassa 2-3, 2-4 kameraa. Scores after 3 games. Currently on pace to make the finals. There are 6 players.
What we think about chances like those 607?
Well, you need 1 big game and that's it.
Yeah. Let's hope, because there is lots of Finnish players.
Yeah, definitely you have a chance if you are over 650 at this moment, but you need 1 big game. Juho Rissanen has started with the double on 3 and 4. Juho Rissanen left to 8. Missed that. 86 over after 34 frames. Markus Heinonen, 652. Definitely capable of shooting 750 for the last 3 games. This time leading light, leading 245.
From Leskinen, front 5.
Yeah, good light hit. Good mixer, 112 over. Vodka on lane 3. He has only 616 after 3 and really opening 3rd, so it doesn't look that that likely that he's going to make it to the final.
Noa Vilokkinen, 3 spares. Juho Rissanen, double and spare.
Arttu Järvinen playing number 1. He had strong 10 in the first squad, then left the 10 pin. So he was close for making that first 300 game and collected 2,000, which eventually went to Pyry Puharinen in score 3. Svensson has started. All right, spare.
Now Ronnie Leskinen on lane 8.
Even a little bit more lighter and this time leaving the 7 pin.
There's a lot of cheering on the end of the lanes.
Yeah, that pair over there, they're cheering for Joonas Jehkinen. It looks like that they were drinking coffee, but when we're checking it more precisely, it's not coffee.
Here we can see Mike Bergman started good and need more strikes. Frank Stephenson possible 279 and also need more score.
Mike Berryman was a part of Dutch national team who competed here 22 in European Men's Championships, and I think he was one of those players who actually won gold medal in 5-man team event. Mia Agerbo, who's the younger sister of Jesper Agerbo, she's been struggling a little bit. Only 59 points after 6 frames. Crowd is definitely getting more energy at the moment, and
It's not for Jehkinen, it's Timo Korhonen.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's 5-4 and the crowd is getting warmer and warmer. Imagine what's it gonna be like, let's say, during Desperado and the finals.
Yeah, on that point, when you are on here on place, there is a quite big sound and it's not coming on the bowling balls and pins.
No.
It comes from the audience.
But that's the thing about Ballmaster. There's lots of people watching and the atmosphere is pretty nice. I remember when I used to play Ballmaster, always in the finals, several friends were in attendance who were cheering for me pretty loudly. And that was nice.
Yeah.
You don't have that culture pretty much anywhere else in the world. So it is unique.
Youth championships, those are something that there is so much loud on the audience that it's like being on a skiing competition side.
What was youth championships last summer or the summer before? Summer 24.
24,
Yeah.
and 17. Yeah.
And that's because there are lots of family traveling with those youths with them, and it is really nice.
Yeah. It's almost like an ice hockey game.
Oh, in a way, yeah.
Yeah.
And they have those cows bells and something like, how we say,
Finnish word räikkä. Räikkä.
Yes.
I don't know what's in English. But räikkä is really making a-
Rattling sound.
rattling sound.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good feeling when there is fans behind who keeps your pace up and it lifts the mood.
Yeah, and if it's constant, continuous sound, then it doesn't bother you. But if it would be silent and all of a sudden somebody's yelling or doing räikkä,
Yeah.
that would be kind of bad thing because it would prevent you completely concentrating on your shot.
Yeah, when you are doing like a professional bowling sport, anything, you have to be a mental to be shut everything outside of all the sounds and that kind of stuff. So
But in bowling culture, those sounds usually don't happen. But I was watching darts World Championships, and that audience was constantly yelling and singing and
yeah,
doing whatever kind of sounds over there. So obviously those dart players are used to that.
yeah,
Magnus Haaran Mittet, like mentioned before, he's 14 with that 14-14 at the moment, 692, and now 28 over this game, so 120 over. William Berggren, 4-6 over there, so he's 7 under for the game, 127 exactly over par after 34 frames. Emil Svensson, who's leading after 3 frames, has a double. Simo Susiluoto was also in good position with 7-11. Now he's 16 under for this game after 6 frames, so less than 100 over. Brandon Bond, who was 732 or had 732 after 4, now he left Big Creek Church in the 5th frame, so he's going to be roughly 20 under for this for 4th game after 5 frames, so that would make him 110 over or so. And Svensson on lane 33. And dead flush. So that makes him 178 over. Niklas Sörensen on 23, who's been always doing good here in Tali. This time finding a little bit trouble. 72 over only. And only 25 frames to go. This time a perfect strike. So like I said, he needs to improve his pace and he needs to do it fast. Juho Rissanen, after 7 frames here in 4th, he has done a double and triple 28 over, so currently at 151 over. We could go to 3 and 4. See if we can catch Juho's next shot and right on time. Vilokinen makes a double on lane number 1, but he's 5 under for this game and overall 85 under. Markus Lahti 627, not looking good for him either. And also Juho left 3-7 split.
I think we can go here because here is Megan decay. And we can see that Brandon Boone is big trouble.
Another open frame after that Greek church. So he's only 101 over at the moment. Really in big trouble. Mega Decay trips the 4-pin. 15 over for the game, 115 in scratch, and if you include those women handicap 48, that would make her 163 over, including all the handicap. Juho Rissanen wasn't able to make a spare at 3, 6, and a 10, so he currently sits at 136 over. Light strike for Devotka.
Outside of picture, Brandon is quite surprised that
He left another split, this time
Yeah.
4-6-10. So after this split, which obviously he won't be able to make a spare, he's only 90, less than that, 88 over. And all of a sudden, in 3 frames, it has really went south for him.
Juho Rissanen make a strike.
And hopefully he can strike out in the 10th, even though last time out there he left at 3-7. But if he strikes out, it will make him 956.
Let's go see Megan. Frame 8 and strike.
Great shot. Perfect hit. Emil Svensson on 33-34. He's 28 over for the game after 8. So that would make him 187 over. That as it stands now, I would say that Haram Mittet's 14-14, which I've been using a lot, just to speculate if it's going to be enough in the top 16. It looks like it will be enough. There's not going to be 3 players going past him. Going on lane 34, play his 9th frame.
And I think Emil Svensson is still leader after this 4th game.
Most likely, yes. There's actually no one even close to him. He's leading the next one by 40 or 50 pins. Jussilainen a little bit sarcastic celebration over there. And obviously his squad is already over. Great strike for Emil Svensson. Somebody over there behind 33 and 34 is wobbling our camera a little bit. And Mega Decay opens up in the 9th. Simo Susiluoto, who had 7-11, just made strike in the 10th, so he's gonna shoot around 200, and he's going to be needing almost 500 for the last two to make it. Nicholas Carter on 25. Very neat strike over there. But even if he strikes out to 235, it would make only 897. Also 500 for the last two is needed over there. Lucas Jelinek on 28. Good light strike from Megan.
And Brandon.
He's gonna end up scoring less than 900, so
Yeah.
I'm not too confident that he's going to shoot 500 for the last two after this game.
Yeah. Those players were way underneath a 300 game.
Pretty much so.
So I think here is
Emil
Emil
Svensson.
Svensson. Yeah, make a strike.
One more and he'll crack that 1,000-point barrier after 4.
Little bit easier to do the 400 than 500.
Yeah, that's true.
And if he doing so good on the 5 and 6 game, he might be on top 16.
Yeah, he doesn't need to do that much anymore. 420 is enough.
Frame 10, second shot.
Unlucky. Solid 7 over there, so he's going to be 196 over if he converts that spare. And to beat that Harald Mitten 14-14, 420 is enough. It seems like there's not going to be anybody else, so even 415 might be enough to crack that top 16. William Berggren, who had 735, his maximum score is 253, so that would be 988. Gerhard Kremer, who I mentioned, played in the Seniors World Championships in Reno in November. 837 after 4 frames.
Timo Korhonen fan club.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's good.
At least so far, Timo Korhonen fan club, they are feeling the energy, but it might change in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
But now, William Berggren up in the 10th. In pretty good situation, especially if he's able to strike out in the 10th. Even flat 10. So that would make him 167 over maximum with a square and a strike.
Timo Korhonen, 219.
Simo Uosukainen, who had 690, struggled, only shot 169, so he has 859. Pretty much out of the running. Joonas Jehkinen just practicing because he's 14-24, definitely is enough for top 16. And now he's using 2 hands. And he has made that score 14-24 with 1 hand.
Yeah.
He can play both 2 hands and 1 hand.
That's good because different kind of lane condition you can choose your.
Yeah. Fourth game is pretty much finished for most of the players. Emil Svensson with that 996. He's leading the squad. Juho Rissanen 942. Magnus Haram Mittet, who actually is, I can say it's safe that he's going to make that top 16 with that 14-14. He has 934. Simon Susiluoto 913, Noa Vilokkinen 910, Roni Leskinen 901. But it's a long way from 910 to make the finals. 480 something is needed from.
Almost impossible.
Oh, well, not impossible, but it's hard.
Yeah.
Because the lane change in 5th and 6th, like mentioned before, is pretty hard. So one pair that is still playing the 4th game,
Yeah.
and it's here. And Kasperi Miettinen finishing off with and Lukas Heijel. It's going to take a couple of minutes so we can publish it. Updated scores after 4 games.
But we can see now the top 2.
Yes, Emil Svensson 996 and William Berggren 967.
So 3rd place Juho Rissanen need 406.
Can you put those qualification scores on the screen so we can speculate a little bit?
Qualification.
Qualification, yeah.
Let's take these out.
That top 38 over there. It's twice 89 and 90 and 91. Definitely if you shoot 92 at the moment, it looks like it's going to be enough. So Juho Rissanen needs 450 or more.
Yeah.
And for Megan Decay, it's already 466.
So 220, 230 games.
That's good, but it's not that easy.
Yeah.
And these are complete scores after 4 games in this last squad number 18. Juho Rissanen has started with 2 spares. Emil Svensson has started with a spare, and William Berggren actually has started with 1 strike. Let's go to 35 and 36. William Berggren, who is 167 over, he needs that 425. And a perfect strike over there. And since he's using a very direct line with Purple Hammer, I don't see him going to face that much adversity, and only needing 425. I think his chances of making the finals are pretty high. Felix Möller, who started pretty brightly, had 515 but then struggled mightily in the 3rd game, is 74 over, although has started with a triple, but he needs 520 for the last 2 games. It's doable, but it's hard. Tim Stampe, who's playing on 13 and 14, him and his brother Mick Stampe, they've been doing most of that pretty nicely over here, but this time around Tim Stampe only 740 after 4 and already out of it. So the Desperado squad is his last chance.
We see that many players are out and they just play this 5 and 6 games and that's it, and go to the Desperado.
That's it, like
Yeah.
you said. It looks like there's only going to be a couple of players that we need to check out in the 6th game.
Yeah, I think Svensson, Berggren, Rissanen,
DK,
maybe.
probably.
Yeah.
But it could be that when the 6th game starts, only a couple of players that we need to be watching more. Nicholas Carter, minor small chance, has started with a triple. 116 over currently.
If he do 300 here, then it's a little bit easier.
Well, then it's okay. Only
Yeah.
needs 200 for the last game.
Yesterday we see 4 300 games
Yes, 4, and those were
In
done
one squad.
in one squad. Yeah,
Yeah.
5 total in the whole tournament, and 4 of them were done in the same squad. Emil Svensson on 29. He missed a 2-pin. That was actually the second 9 miss for Emil Svensson. He has 9 spare, 9 miss, 9 miss, 29 and 30.
Let's go there.
So all of a sudden, he's 23 under for the game, so 173, and 2 single pin misses. It's never a good idea, but at this point, it's even worse.
Yeah. Maybe that little thought I'm in 200 games and then
But for a player like Emil Svensson, he's really good. That's not too common that he misses twice in a row a single pin. That's unforgivable.
yeah. We can
Go to 24, 23.
we can see that on lane 19 Magnus Haramitet front 5 and Kaisa Lyle front 5, but Magnus still have a chance to the finals. He needs that 300 game.
Pretty much. Juho Rissanen has 1 double and clean game so far. So after 5 frames, he's exactly 149 over. And Justin Bonnier, who has 693, has started.
Even he do both games on 300.
It's
It's not enough.
It is, because you need 1392.
No, maybe.
Yeah, so he needs 600 actually.
Yeah.
Simon Susiluoto on lane 2, 2 spares and 4 strikes, so 278 game is still possible if he do that. On is out already.
Well, that surely didn't help leaving that 7 pin.
Yeah.
94 over and only 14 frames remaining.
Mekan Decay clean game so far.
Emil Svensson left the 4 pin.
Oh no.
And this time he made a spare.
But he have to make
Now he needs 20 over the last 16 frames, 15 frames. 16 frames.
so lots of strikes and
Well, not that much, but he needs to keep sparing those single pins, not missing them.
yeah. And now on lane 19 Magnus Haramitet.
And he's 14-14. Now we can say he's safe in the top 16, but it would be a good idea to shoot 300 over here and enter that 300 extra.
Yeah.
I can't remember him playing here in Tali before. He's totally new player for me, but he's playing actually really nicely.
On lanes 19-20, Magnus Haramitet, front 7.
It could be on this pair 19 and 20. There's 2 players with front 7. If Kaisa Louis is able to strike again in the 7th, which he does perfectly.
On lanes 19-20, Kaisa Lille, front
Last
7.
year.
On 15-16, Felix Möller, front 7.
Or was it in Hammer Challenge?
I try to remember, was he in that Ballmaster or internal
Kaisa,
Hamilton?
she was playing pretty nicely in Hammer Challenge, not Ballmaster.
Yeah.
And if we calculate her handicap 48 to that
No, Justin
striking out,
did get
she would be 168 over. William Berggren on 35 and 36. He has also missed a single pin in third frame, so he's 3 under for this game. Actually 4 under, so 163 over at the moment. Juho Rissanen made a spare, so he's 149 and 13 frames to go.
Felix Möller on lane 16, front 7.
Yeah. And he still had 74 over. If he manages to shoot, let's say, at least 270, then with 230, 240 in the last game, and he would be in.
Yeah. I think Felix.
That was a tight line for Kaisa Lille, but still managed to hit the pocket. And
Kaisa Lille, front 8.
Outside we can see Felix 7-10 split.
Oh, on lane 15. That was a dagger.
Yeah.
Because if he only shoots 240, then he would need to shoot 270 the last game.
Magnus Harmittet,
Magnus
front 8.
Harmittet also some late help on both 7 and 10, but still manages to knock them all down. Front 8 for him too. Markus Lahti, who had 885 after 4. He's a few pins under the par after 7 frames, so pretty much needs to strike out the rest of the way.
Justin Bourne. Out. Now official. He's out.
Yeah. There's no theory anymore for him.
Yeah.
Kasperi Miettinen, 7 kaato alusta, front 7, Kasperi Miettinen.
Who was that who had front 7?
Lane 14, Kasperi Miettinen.
Okay, he has 835, so still some leverage for him if he leaves once or twice. Kaisa Lille left to 8. And Emil Svensson only spared in the 6th, so he's still 173 over. A good light hit for Magnus Haraman.
Magnum Harmittet, front 9.
Not yet ready here. But here is Felix Möller on lane 16.
If he strikes out, it would make him 140 over. So 250 something for the last game would be enough. So still some leverage. He can leave something at least twice for those last 11 frames. Brandon Bone on 31 and 32 opened up the first frame, and since then, six bagger. If he strikes out for 279, that would make him 1160 something too. So still chance. Based on how this fan club is cheering for Jehkinen and Timo Korhonen, I would say they're not going to last the whole day.
I think that too.
Because it's only 4:30, and based on the sound levels, they're not going to be cheering like that at, let's say, 9 o'clock.
Yeah. And now Kasperi Miettinen on lane 13.
No. High hit leaving the 6 pin.
So
Magnus Haram mitten. Round 9.
Our flying camera is there.
That's not Magnus.
Yeah. Good guess.
So we should tell Rauli that wrong person. But Magnus was still able to take down all the 10. So he has from
Magnus
10.
Harammitted. 10 strikes.
And Nicholas Carter, who we can see on the next lane. Strike there, his maximum is 250. Still small chance for him too. That was perfect.
11 strikes for Magnus.
He doesn't look too phased. Although we don't know what's happening inside of his head, but
Yeah.
the way he behaves and
Hands.
looks to be pretty calm.
Yeah.
William Berggren has a triple on 35 and 36, so he's 180 something over. But now,
Come on, 300
that's
game.
too,
Go,
too,
go,
too
go.
straight, too straight.
Oh.
Yeah, bad shot.
So maybe we go here. Emil Svensson.
4-6. He's in actually big trouble.
Very big.
40 under for this game, so that makes him only 156 over. So William Berggren on 35 and 36, he's actually the current leader of this squad. And his exact situation is 183 over.
So maybe only one player who can do
Yeah,
that.
it looks like that it could be only one or two.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be 89 or 90, the cut score. Which is, I guess, a little bit higher than last year, even though we had 19 different players shooting 300. But I would say it was 70 something.
Yeah.
Top 16 was pretty much the same as this year, but 38 was around 10 pins lower. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Is that... What pin was that? It wasn't a 2-pin. It was 4-pin.
Yeah. I think so.
A light hit and a 4-pin came actually towards foul line a little bit. It was close to being that the 2-pin scissors would have been able to pick it up, but that was really, really bad luck. And imagine in which situation. By striking out, you would have been 1200. Now you need still 210 in the last game.
Yeah.
That was a very, very bad break. Juho Rissanen shot 215, so he is 11.57, needing 235 or more. It's interesting to see which pin they are going to put down. It wasn't a 2-pin.
No.
It was a 4-pin, but okay. I think William is thinking the same, that it was not a 2-pin.
Jukka is still there. Okay.
Yeah, and they're changing it.
Yeah.
Even though it's a minor thing, but since we are 100% sure it was a 4-pin, not a 2-pin, it needs to be the correct one. Brandon Bourne on 31-32, 240 something, so that makes him 1130, so he needs 260 or high 250s, because he's going to be 1133 with that spare. Yes, so he needs 259.
Mekan Decay 216 and total score 1142.
And with handicap, it would be 1150. So the last game needs to be 240. Scratch.
William Berggren, last shot strike.
182 over.
And let's go.
Emil Svensson, 29-30. Five to six players that have realistic chance probably going into the last game to making the finals. No, Emil Svensson. 156 over. My tip for him as a coach would be make 3 strikes.
Yeah.
That's a good idea in this situation.
Let's see.
A really good shot. Because if he makes that 180 and 176 over, he would only require 215 to 16. Okay, it's still 215 to 16, but it's not like you need to go and shoot 270.
Big
And after
difference.
missing those single pins, it's probably boiling in his head at the moment, or at that moment when he did miss those.
Yeah. Maybe.
Oh yeah, dead flush. And good thing for him, he doesn't need to switch ends, so it's going to be playing 25 and 26, which is a decent pair. Nothing wrong with there. So I wouldn't be too surprised if shot more than 215 and made the finals. $11.76 exactly for Emil Svensson. William Berggren is going to be playing on 3 and 4. Emil Svensson is going to be 25 and 26. Juho Rissanen has already started his last game on 11 and 12. Spare and a strike. Simon Susiluoto finished on 1 and 2, 221, open up in the 10th, 11:34. He'll be playing on 5 and 6. Mega Decay is playing the last pair and has already started with 2 strikes. So including handicap, that makes her 160 over at the moment.
Let's see, I think here are the scores. They're missing something. Emil Svensson 11.76.
And that's the only score from top 10 that is missing.
Yeah. Now all is there.
Yes. And also Noah Vilokinen 11:30. Which lane is he playing? He's on 29 and 30. Hasn't yet started his last game. Juho Rissanen is going up into 3rd frame, working on a strike. 157 over. So 235 is what is needed from Juho. Mega Decay struck already the 3rd time, so she's 170 over, and she's playing on 35 and 36.
Yeah. And now Juho Rissanen.
Good light, yeah, good light mixer. A very important strike for him.
And take a quick look at what is needed.
Definitely 92 is going to be enough, because there's not going to be 5 players beating that. But when we get closer to the end of the 6th game, we can calculate, but at this minute, target score is 92. Well, Vilokinen started with a strike. So did William Berggren. Brandon Bond, who needs 259, has started with a strike, spare and 9, spare. So pretty much next one can be a spare. Actually, he needs to strike out.
And Felix Möller on lane 20. He's out.
Yeah, already one open frame. So no theory for him anymore.
So 9 players.
And Magnus Haram, who's leading, it's irrelevant what he shoots. Because
Yeah.
he's going to make the top 16 anyway. So
Yeah, so 8
eight
players.
players, yeah.
Let's go look at here Megan Decay.
Noah Vilokinen double, so he's 141 over after 2 frames.
Oh, lucky shot.
Yeah, Brooklyn. It hooked so early, but luckily for her, it was a Brooklyn strike, so she's 180 over at the moment.
It looks like Brandon is out.
He needs to strike out.
Yeah,
That would give him 269. That would be 1402. But if he leaves anything, let's say next one is 9 spare, then his maximum would be 1391.
still.
Yeah, slim hopes are still alive.
So
Juho Rissanen actually did strike in the 4th, so he is 177 over. William Berggren over there was 182 over.
Yeah,
So he just needs 210 something. He has moved a little bit to the left, but still going with purple hammer and straight lines. And dead flush. And Noah Vilokinen, 29 and 30, started with triple, so 151 exactly for him at the moment.
there is Simon Susiluoto.
He is
on
playing
lane
on 5
6.
and 6,
Yeah,
and now there's 8 split for him. And miss,
out.
so he's out. Because maximum score is 255, that would only give him 1380.
Yeah.
So he's out. Mega Decay on 35 and 36.
Let's go there.
A little weak 10. 6-pin did hit the 10-pin, but they didn't go down. So 179 over exactly. Needing 2 doubles or 1 triple. Juho Rissanen struck actually the 4th time in a row. So he's 187 over exactly. Emil Svensson, who is actually playing in front of us on 25 and 26, has started with the strike and spare. Nicholas Carter, who made that big jump, and he's on 11.52. He's playing on 17 and 18, started with the split, but since then 3 strikes, so he's 161 over.
Yeah, still alive.
Emil Svensson in front of us, 25 and 26. A little high hit, leaving 4-7. So 174 over. 3 see next.
Brandon.
Noah Vilokinen on 29 and 30. Let's go there. He's 151 over
Yeah, yeah.
and going on 29. So Noah needs 250. And a perfect strike.
And here we can see Brandon.
Keeping his
Yeah.
slim hopes alive. The next time he can leave something is with his fill ball.
Yeah. And Megan Decay.
Last time out on 36, she had a Brooklyn strike. Let's see what's going to happen. Made an adjustment. But since she's using the purple hammer and playing fourth, between third and fourth, obviously the pocket is going to get a little bit smaller, and that's 2 in a row, leaving those weak 10s for her.
Yeah. Juho Rissanen.
He's on 5 and 6. Nicholas Carter, by the way, left a single pin, so he's 160 over and prime 5 frames to go.
So let's see this spare shot.
Safe conversion for
Okay.
him. And William Berggren just in time. He's 202 over at this moment.
And here is now Juho Rissanen.
With this strike, he would need to stay clean the rest of the way to make it. He's 187 over.
Come on. Oh, yes!
That was a huge break for Juho.
Yeah.
Because with that strike, like I said, now he needs to stay clean. He can lose 5 pins as a count the rest of the way. Could be 6. But that was a huge break.
Very huge. And Brandon still alive.
Yes.
So, where we go next?
Emil Svensson in front of us. 25-26. He has lost 6 counts, so he's 170 over. Nicholas Carter made a strike in the 6th. Noah Vilokkin actually left something in the 5th, 9 spare, so he's 160 over.
Still alive.
4 frames to go. So that means he actually needs to strike 5 times in a row. Next frame he can leave something, but he needs a 5-bagger.
Yeah.
Megan, who is 178 over, including handicap. A little bit luck over there. 3-pin taking out the 10 instead of 6-pin. But anyway, it counts. Megan needs 2 more strikes.
And
Emil Svensson struck on 26. Brandon.
oh no.
Yeah, game over for him.
Yeah.
Juho actually struck already for the 6th time in a row. So now he's 207 over. All of a sudden, Juho is playing for a place in the top 16.
Yeah.
William Berggren also on lane 3 and 4 has a 4-bagger. He's 212 over. So in a way, actually Magnus Harammittet probably needed a big score to stay in the top 16. Okay, there's going to be 2 players going past him, so he would have been 16th, but Noah Vilokinen left the 7 pins, so 159 over. And that means Noah needs to strike out the last 4 frames.
Yeah, here is William Berggren.
With this strike, he would actually cement his place in the finals. And also with this strike, he would only need to stay clean to make the top 16.
Yeah,
Perfect hit. And that one came from a little bit outer line. As the previous strike we saw on lane 3, it was a little bit straighter, so there's definitely room for him to miss. We can count him to make the top 16.
Paul Simon Susiluoto
He was out already.
out, so Noah make a split.
Baby split, yeah, so there's no chance anymore for him. His maximum is 1387,
So
which
we
is
have
not enough.
Megan.
Did Megan make a spare over there? Yeah, probably did.
It's miss, I think.
9 miss, so it's game over for her. Also, Juho 207
Come
over.
on,
Did he miss it
strike.
outside? He did.
Oh.
Well, take the single pin away. Then he would be 193 over. And since that would be an open frame, he's not losing count. Just 1 pin is enough, important over here. Don't even try to make a spare. Take out the 1 because that's needed. Really important. Good.
Yep. He is still calm.
Yeah, 193 over, so he can lose a couple of pins. Because now at the moment it seems like 1391 is going to be enough.
So
Emil Svensson on 25 and 26 just tripled. He's exactly 190 over. But we only have 3 players at the moment who are in contention to make the finals,
yeah.
excluding Harald Mittet because it doesn't matter what he shoots.
So Juho Rissanen on lane 12.
And then William Berggren 3 and 4 and Emil Svensson on 25 and 26.
And now here.
And 232 over for William Berggren. Is it Juho on
Let's
11 and
see.
12? Not yet. It's either Juho or Emil Svensson who's up next. It's going to be Juho. A strike here, then in the 10th, spare 8 would be probably enough. Spare 9 at least, because 1392 is definitely going to be enough. The strike here is huge.
Come on.
A good light hit leaving the 7th pin. Okay. Make the spare and only lose 1 count in the 10th and you're in the finals, Juho. Emil Svensson on 25 and 26 made a 4th strike in a row, so he's exactly 200 over and 2 frames to go.
See. take it back.
Just trying to hit where is Magnus Mittet on which lane.
There is that fan club shouting so loud. So William Berggren going now. Same time Emil Svensson.
William Berggren solidified his place in the top 16, but Emil Svensson on 25 and 26 left a 10 pin in the 9th, so he's 199 over. Juho with this pair would be 193 over. William Berggren, we don't need to watch him anymore. He's already in the top 16.
So here Emil Svensson spare that.
Yes, 199 over. Any kind of a mark in the 10th is enough for him. Magnus Mittet shot 202 the last game and 1433. So he stays in the top 16. William Berggren is a new one over there. And now we're only concentrating what's going to happen with Juho and Emil. And there's only one new player. It was 89, so 91 should be enough now.
One more.
Can you put those on display for a few seconds, the total before this last squad?
Here.
Yes, so 91 is definitely enough because only one new player so far, William Berggren. So you need to beat 89 and 90, so 91 is enough. And Juho is 193 over and Emil Svensson is 199 over.
They both throw about same time, so little bit blinking screen.
Yeah,
Emil is ready.
he's going to be shooting first.
Yeah.
A strike here, and he's in the final. Light 4, he needs to make a spare on that. If he misses, he won't make it. But if he hits it, then just a 3 count is enough.
No pressure.
Pretty simple situation. Make a spare, you're
Yeah.
in the final, and if you miss it, then go home. We have time to watch Emil spare, and that is a spare. He's going to be playing in the finals later today. Now it's Juho on the approach. And Juho can actually lose 2 pins as count. So if this is a strike, he's in the final.
Come on now.
He didn't miss it
Do it.
outside. And
Yes.
it's a strike, and Juho is in the final.
Yes.
Because obviously he's going to get at least 8 with 2 balls. So both...
the timeline is that when the last throw is done, then we take the scores out from the scorer and it goes to the Jukka, and Jukka is uploading those to France, and it takes about 2 to 3 minutes that we get it on the screen.
Okay, that's good. But now we know both Juho Rissanen and Emil Svensson made the finals, and William Berggren cracked the top 16. Those were the 3 players that entered the finals as new players from this last squad. Okay, we have to wait for Juho to collect those 8 pins, but he's going to do that with 2 balls. Emil Svensson's final score, 13.98. Eight pins with 2 shots. I'm pretty sure Juho knows the situation, but he doesn't want to rush it. Imagine leaving a Greek church and then you need to pick those 3 pins up from there.
Yeah.
I would actually go straight with spare ball, because that eliminates the chance of leaving that big 5.
Yeah.
And also big 4,
Ah,
because when you hook it, it could be big 4.
same ball. Okay. Outside.
Now he needs big 3, and that was 1390. What was the last game? It could be that 2 is enough, because he's still shooting over 230.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Guaranteed picking up 3 is enough. But if you would use a spare ball on this shot, you can't leave that.
Yeah.
Straight and hard to the head pin would have been much wiser. Because 90 is not now going to be the last score, because 2 already went past. And I don't know what's the last game with that 1390 score. It doesn't matter.
Come on.
Now it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it's 1392.
Whew, so close.
So the final score to make the finals, it is 1391. There were 2 of those, plus those extra places from earlier squads. We will update those scores in a couple of minutes. But while we're waiting for that, Desperado will start probably in 30 minutes, 40 minutes maybe.
It has been scheduled at 17:30, but we have to give time for people to register.
Yeah, it takes at least 30 minutes before we start.
Yeah. There is some line on the
I
cashier
would say
now.
it's closer to 5:45, 5:50 when we start. But either case, the finals will be able to start in time, 7:30 later on this evening.
So we should have all lanes now. Yep, off. And we are still missing about
And the player who was 15th before this last squad, he's going to be that number 16.
we can put these to here. It will update when we get the latest of the results on there, but
And
We
your
know.
score is still missing,
Yeah.
that we know. And since Magnus Haramitet was already on 14th position before this final squad, it was only William Berggren who cracked the top 16. So the player who was 15th before this squad is going to be the cut score for top 16. And those players with 1391, can't remember who
And
they
after
were.
very, very tight
They are the
situations,
last ones to get in the top
this
38.
squad has ended. And best result was William Berggren, 1439. And he went to the top 16. Second best, Magnus Haramitet, 1433. He also got to the top 16. So
Yeah,
in
18
the
squads
qualification,
now we've played
top
here in
16
this year's
needed.
Ballmaster Open. Total entries were 1140 something. 22 different countries, and how many different players did you say, Rauli? 488.
88.
And later this evening, players positioned 17 to 48. So 32 players will play 6 games from scratch, and top 16 will make it to step 2, which will be played tomorrow morning at 10
What?
a.m.
From squads 9 to 11, Gert Roos, Ani Juntunen, and from squads 9 to 8, Santtu Tahvanainen, Tomas Tissarinen, and Linus Boström.
So there was
So
it
from
was
this
told-
squad, we got
Yeah,
two
Jukka
new.
already announced which were the players that made it from squads 1 to 8, 9 to 11, and 12 to 14. So we should be able to put those on display in a couple of minutes.
18 is already on the line, and let's see how fast we get it on the graphics. There is now it's there, so we can take the
These are official,
Overall,
yeah,
yeah.
official overall standings. I missed it. It's Dan Agebo Ostergaard, who was actually the last cut score 1390.
yeah.
And on the left, you can see Ben Robinson, Martin Larsen making from squads 12 to 14, Kert Roos and Ani Juntunen from squads 9 to 11, and Tahvanainen, Tissanen, Boström from squads 1 to 8.
So Petteri Salonen was the first out of squads 1 through 8.
So 1389. There was Pontus Andersson who
So
was
Petteri Salonen didn't even make the finals.
Yes,
And he was yesterday, obviously, before those two squads that everybody was scoring high. Petteri was feeling confident, I made the finals and so on. And,
yeah.
well, he didn't.
Before
Yeah.
this squad, he was on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Linus is that lucky player there. So Petteri's score was 1376. So unlucky.
Unlucky. Somebody has to be the one dropping out first, and somebody has to be the last one in. But these are the final results.
17 to 38, basically 18 points.
That's true. And imagine, top 16, 1430, and the cut score is 1390.
Yeah.
That's amazing how tight it is.
Yeah.
Rauli, are we going to make a separate sending for the Desperado?
Yes, we are, and it is coming on the main stream and also all the other cameras also.
So you can pick up whatever camera.
Yeah.
And we'll start the stream when the Desperado will start.
Yeah.
It's going to take around 30-35 minutes. Stay online. We'll start the stream as soon as they start playing. And do remember that final step number 1 starts 7:30 p.m. later this evening. But for now, thanks for watching.